What is up YouTube, and today we're going to be talking about the new limited unit that has taken the spotlight of the game, and that is Afternoon Soak FLAN. Not really a big fan of her name, but let's just call her Limited FLAN, and she looks amazing. And you're going to see that her skills are pretty good as well. And in this video we're just going to be talking about my personal build for her. She hasn't been out for that long, so there are many different builds people are trying, but this is the build that I've found the most fun and success on, and also about her skill enhancements and what you guys actually want to invest in. But before we go any further, I want to talk about today's sponsor, Marvel Strikeforce. Marvel Strikeforce is a free mobile squad-based RPG game available on iOS and Android where players assemble powerful teams of Marvel heroes and villains to battle in epic turn-based combat with endless team combinations and strategic gameplay. Use my link in the description or scan the QR code on screen to unlock free characters this month, including the infamous witch Agatha and Blade with his team of Night Stalkers. Power up your characters by completing missions and unlocking gear to battle against threats like Doctor Doom, to save the universe, and also PvP battle other players through Alliance War and Arena. By using my link or QR code to download the game, you can unlock up to 17 free characters within the first 30 days, including Deadpool, Thor, Captain America, and more. Today is the perfect time to start playing because there are free character giveaways going on throughout the month of October. New characters are always being released, and by logging in daily, you will be able to get the highly anticipated Agatha for free from the login calendar event. One of the most exhilarating aspects of Marvel Strikeforce that completely floored me was the sheer power of team synergy. Sure, some characters are formidable on their own, but when you strategically assemble them alongside their faction allies, they become an unstoppable force, unlocking massive boosts that can take your squad to extraordinary heights. But there's even more. To celebrate the spooky season, players can redeem the promo code Halloween in all caps to get their free 100 shards for Zombie Iron Man, 600k gold, and 480 L2 training modules. Don't forget to use my link or scan my QR code to download the game now. Now back to the video, guys. So basically Afternoon Soak FLAN, she is a pretty interesting unit. She is one of the only units in the game. I think she's the only one that can reach 100% evasion here. You're going to see that this is her passive. She has a focus system, and basically she gets 50% evasion just outright. And when her focus is 1 or higher, basically whenever she has focus, she gets an additional 50% going to 100%. Now her focus system is unique in that it gets used after an ally uses a basic skill. You will use one focus to actually dual attack with FLAN and also CR push her by 25%. So pretty interesting. You can force dual attacks with her as long as she has focus with your allies if they S1. Next we have her S3. It's a single target attack. It will CR push your entire team by 20%. This will always crit, and this will put defense break on the enemy that you choose, and you can soul burn this for only 10 souls to ignore effect resist. Very, very good for actually targeting a unit to burst down. You can use this on pretty much anything because you have that soul burn to ignore effect resist, so it makes her very, very powerful, and you'll be able to actually just set up a unit to actually die on the enemy side with that defense break and by pushing up your team. Next we have her S1, Do Not Disturb. It's going to be a single target attack with a 40% chance to stun for 1 turn. This will always crit as well, and this will be single target when you actually bring her with a dual attack from another ally, so whenever her passive triggers, it will be single target. However, when you use it on her own turn, she will use an AoE attack, and this will also grant her focus on her own turn and also crit as well, and this cannot trigger dual attacks or counter attacks. So basically the way she works is she gains focus basically by S1ing on her own turn, and she'll be using focus when she S1s through a dual attack with an ally. And of course the AoE attack hits pretty hard as well, and the stun is very nice when you actually bring her with a dual attack. 48% chance to stun isn't too high, but when it does land, it can be very, very annoying. So this is the build that I actually have my FLAN on. Let me just talk about her stats very, very quickly. So the first thing you're going to notice is that I'm on Lifesteal set. This is because she has very, very good tankiness built in with her evasion, and the only thing she really lacks in her kit, like most evasion units do, is Lifesteal. So because of that, like other evasion units, I have her on this Lifesteal build. Next we have her on Health set. You can put her on Penetration set as well, or even Torrent set for extra damage, but I personally like her to be more bulky, so I have her on this Health set here, but I think Penetration is probably better, and even Torrent maybe if you want to build her on a full damage build. Now for her stats, there's a lot of ways to build her, honestly, because her kit is so unique. For me personally, I went with some effectiveness, so you're going to notice that I have about 130% effectiveness because I do like to actually use her as a CC'er as well with her S1. Honestly, you probably don't need it because her Soul Burn effect does ignore effect resist on her S3, so it's really up to you. It's kind of like the old Falconer Clarity where sometimes people would build effectiveness and sometimes people wouldn't. And the rest of her stats you're going to notice are going into bulk and damage. So you can actually drop her tankiness for more damage here. But I think at the very least you want 4k attack and probably around like 300% crit damage. You don't need any crit chance because she has built-in crit chance, right? Her S3 and S1 will always critical hit, making her very good against like ML Landy and stuff like that. So all you really need is attack and crit damage, and you know, bulk tankiness is up to you. If you want to use her more as a bruiser like I have her on, it's very, very good. If you want to use her more as a damage dealer, you can drop all the effectiveness, drop a lot of the bulk, and put her on full damage, which works as well. But for me personally, I like to have her in a more bruiser setup because I find her easier to play that way. And of course for speed, really up to you. I think my speed is a little low. I think you want to aim for like 150, 160. But because she has the CR push-up, whenever you use her dual attack, I do have her a little bit lower. But having it a bit higher will probably be a bit better for you. Now for her artifact, her own artifact's very good because she gets increased crit damage, and basically when her dual attack procs from her S2, she'll get an attack buff at a chance, right? Of course, if you don't have it maxed out. But yeah, this is my Afternoon Soak FLAN. This is how I build her, and I think she's pretty strong. She's very fun to use for sure, and her design is amazing. And of course, like I mentioned, this isn't the best build most likely. I'm just testing her out on this build, so we'll just be showcasing her on this build in some arena. And we're going to be testing her out here against a pretty tanky team. I think she's very good against bruiser teams on my setup. Of course, my FLAN is pretty bulky with lifesteal, so she should do pretty well. And basically, what we're going to do here is just put the Venom up and have Pestilence on her team. She works very well with DDR because she gets increased effectiveness and she can land this Venom, which is super powerful. And basically, she's my sole damage dealer, right, against a pretty tanky team. So we're going to see how she does. Just going to the NL Ilyanov's S3 here. Onto my DDR. And they do have increased effect resist, but because I do have increased effectiveness, this should counter out in theory, right? And I S1 here, it's gonna bring my ML FLAN. You'll see, not ML FLAN, limited FLAN. You'll see it stuns, which is very, very nice. And it's gonna do a ton of damage. And I think here, what I'm gonna actually do is hold on to my S3 because Destina should S3 here most likely. So we're just going to S1, apply a lot of our Venoms. You can see it does a lot of damage, and basically I get some focus as well. So now Destina is forced to S3 here, and now I can start putting some debuffs, right? I think here I'm just going to start focusing Destina. Ideally, you do want to get the healer down first, right? And just S3 here again with ML Prowl. And this team I've been actually using to auto down a lot of these tankier teams in Arena. So if you're looking for a good auto team for Arena to climb, Afternoon Soak FLAN is pretty good, right? She does a lot of work. And here we're just going to go on to Bellion again. And I think here for one more turn, actually, I'm going to S1 because I do want to apply this Pestilence one more time from DDR. Now you can see the damage is ramping super quickly. Immunity buff, so can't get CC'd. And you do actually have to worry about her getting CC'd, right? Because she does get countered by stuns because she won't be able to dual attack. She does have evasion though, so you can keep that in mind. But you can see, I guess my LR Crow is doing a lot of the work here. Kind of an LR Crow showcase. But you can kind of see what she's kind of meant to do, right? Like she's just seeing and stuff like that. Does actually pretty crazy damage, to be honest. And I think what I do here is I try to take down the Abyssal This should land defense break. I don't think she's built on effect resist. Oh, it literally just kills her. Okay, the damage is a lot higher than I thought.
I'm not half bad when I try. Focus.
And then, of course, I bring her as well. And you can see, even on the slow build, my Afternoon Soak FLAN is keeping her focus pretty easily. And all these dual attacks is just, must be super frustrating to play against, right? And here we go again. Yeah, this looks pretty insane, to be honest. Pair her with like Death Deal Ray. You know, she's just doing so much injury, so many injuries, so much damage. Defense break super annoying.
You'll make an excellent specimen.
Yeah, so that is pretty much Afternoon Soak FLAN. But yeah, that's pretty much how Afternoon Soak FLAN works in a nutshell. Like I mentioned, there's many more ways to build her. I have her on this build specifically to take down tankier teams. I think it's a little bit better for like arena offense, especially if you do pair her with, like I said, a unit that is actually free to play. Can get him from the Moonlight Connections later on, Death Deal Array, because it works so well with his S2 Pestilence and Effectiveness buff. But you know, there's a lot of other ways you can play her. I think she's also getting like cleave aggressive comps as well. So let me know in the comments down below what you guys actually have her built her on, and I'll see you guys next video where I do showcase her more in some other PvP content.